Hi everyone, welcome back to today's video. Today is day 2 of my 25 days of Christmas. So if you have not heard, I am posting a video every single day leading up to Christmas in the month of December. So super excited. Today is day 2 and we are working with the In the Pines stamp set and bundle. I love trees, and that's like, I say that and I'm like, that sounds really weird, Lindsay. I love tree like images and sets because they are so versatile. You can use them for a ton of different things. So with today's video, before I jump into today's project, I'm also going to be giving away the Life is Beautiful stamp set. I have done so many projects with this set. It's one of my absolute favorites, and I just felt like it went really well with like the tree theme that we have going on for today. So if you are interested in winning this stamp set completely free, make sure you check out the coordinating blog post, which is the first link in the description box below. There will be all of the details on how to enter there. So awesome stamp set. I've seriously used this one so much. It is like one of my absolute favorites. So make sure you go and enter that giveaway because it's going to be super fun. Before we get into all of the specifics and how we're actually going to make this project, don't forget to make sure you are following me on all of the socials. So Instagram, Facebook, all of that good stuff. Make sure you're subscribed here on YouTube. And as always, you can purchase all of the products that I am going to be talking to you guys about 24/7 just by going to littlemooncreation.stampinup.net. So let's jump into this. This one is absolutely amazing, and it's so simple. So simple to do. I think it's hard to tell on camera how beautiful these trees are because there's so much like detail and texture in them. It's just like they're absolutely gorgeous. So enough of me rambling about it. Let's go ahead and jump into creating this project. So I'm gonna put my card over there. The first thing that I think I want to do is let's work on the trees, since those are kind of the focal point. And I forgot to put my dies or my stamps on blocks before this, so you guys are just going to get to come along with me for the ride. Normally I try to do this ahead of time so you don't have to watch me do it, but I didn't today, so here we are, and you get to see my big old head. So we're going to be using these two stamps here. So this one that has kind of all the leaves, and then this one that is the background, or I'm sorry, the outline. Stick that bad boy right on there as well. And then while I'm here, I'm going to grab my sentiment that says Season's Greetings. Let's find a block for this guy. There we go. Okay, so now we have all of our stamps lined up and ready to go. So what I will say is in my sample here, when I was creating this, I used basic black as the outline for the trees. Today I decided to switch it up, and I'm going to be using early espresso just because I think it'll give it a more cohesive look with the crumb cake and the early espresso instead of, did I say basic black? I meant stays on. Wow. We haven't had basic black in quite some time. So let's get started. So I'm going to be using Old Olive and then early espresso like I was mentioning. I'm going to start with my Old Olive, and I'm going to start with the tree here that's like all of the little leaves. And so basically I am just going to ink this up, and then I'm going to stamp it 3 times on my piece here of Whisper White. You want to make sure that you don't put the stamp too far down your piece of paper, because the outline stamp that we're about to do has a trunk, and so it's going to come down a bit. So that's just something to keep in mind when you are stamping these little trees. If you do it in the order that I'm doing, you want to make sure that you leave enough room for the outline because it's a little bit longer on the bottom than the leaves are. So now I'm going to take early espresso, and I'm going to take my background, and honestly, you could leave it just like this. This is an absolutely beautiful tree, and it's going to give you a bit of a different look, I think, but you could absolutely leave it just like that. I really like the outline though, so I'm going to be inking this up, like I said, in early espresso, and the fun part about this is you don't really have to line it up perfectly. It's going to look good no matter what. So you can see there are some places where it's not 100% perfect. It doesn't matter, you guys. It doesn't matter. Just gonna plop it down. And then one more. Just like that. So stinking easy. While I am here and while I kind of have everything out, man, I got ink everywhere. Where did all of this green ink come from? I must have stuck my finger in it. And now I have green ink all over the place, which is really cool. But while I am here, and let me actually grab Old Olive again. Oh, there's ink all over the stamp pad. That would be why. That would cause me to get ink everywhere else. I am going to take my sentiment because I'm also going to stamp this in Old Olive. And I'm going to try to find a little place to stamp this. We'll go right here. Okay, you just need somewhere on your Whisper White scrap. This isn't cut at any particular size. I just grabbed a fairly large scrap of Whisper White because I knew I needed to do all 3 trees and my sentiment. So let's start doing our cutting. So I'm going to bring in my cut and emboss machine. I'm going to bring in my sandwich over here. And I'm going to do a few things. So I'm going to grab my Pine Woods dies, and I wanted to show you guys so that you knew which die I was using because there are a few different variations in this set. So you have this die here that is the complete just outline of the tree. You have this die over here that's going to cut out quite a few like big pockets of cardstock. And then you have this one over here that's going to give you like a couple little pieces as well as the full outline. This is the one over here that we're going to be using. So I just wanted to show you that because it can be a little weird to look at and try to understand which one exactly I am using. So I am just going to start by putting my tree down here. And now again, this isn't going to line up perfectly. That's kind of the beauty of this set, is that things aren't going to line up 100% perfectly. While I do this, I am also going to take, and let's see if I can fit it all on here. If not, I'll wait. Yep, I'm going to wait to do that till the very end, which is totally fine. So I'm going to just cut out all 3 of my trees really fast, and then we will be right back. Okay, so now that I have all 3 of my trees cut out, and I'll show you guys those in a second, I'm going to work on cutting out the season's greetings here. And what I'm actually probably going to do, the trees are a little messy because you're cutting out quite a few little like bits and bobs, but it's totally worth it. They're adorable. So I'm just cutting this piece off here so I can work with the smaller piece. I'm going to take one of my stitched shapes. This is the second to largest square, and I'm going to set it down just so that it is almost touching the top of my grating. So if you look here at our sample, I'm going to use these stitched squares to cut down a little rectangle perfectly sized for my grating. So I want it to almost touch the top of my grating there. I'm going to then just smack this down and crank this through. And then you'll see, so now this is cut out. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the little groove. So you can flip it over and you'll feel it kind of like lock into place really easily. And you're just going to find where it fits best. And you're going to cut off the bottom now. And again, whoops, now I'm pulling this whole thing with me. You want to kind of flip it over and make sure it's like locked into some grooves and it feels really, really nice in there. I don't know why I'm struggling so much with this one. There we go. There we go. Now we got it all in there. And then I'm going to, again, just take this and crank her through. And then you very, very easily get a stitched rectangle that fits perfectly around your little sentiment. So adorable, right? The last thing that we need to do is with the largest of the squares in the stitch shapes, we are going to grab a piece of crumb cake and we're just going to cut out a square out of crumb cake cardstock. Like I said, this is again Stitch Shapes. This is the largest square in the set. Okay. Whew, there's a lot of die cutting with this one. I forgot how much die cutting there was. But now we are almost good to go. I'm going to fold this guy up, move it off to the side, take some of these little bits and bobs away. Maybe I threw them in the trash. Maybe I threw them on the ground. I don't know. And now let's get to putting this card together. So easy and so much fun. So we're going to take our crumb cake square here, and I'm going to zoom you all in just a little bit so that it's a little bit easier to see. Take our crumb cake square here. I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to grab my Stampin' Seal Plus. I like to use the Plus for this because we're putting, like, we want ribbon and stuff to stick down on here. And then you can see I'm just putting adhesive all over the back of this. Super easy to do. Don't think too much about it. You just want a lot of adhesive on the back. Then we are going to take this gold twine from the Forever Greenery ribbon combo pack. I can't remember what the exact name of it is. And I'm going to start by putting the end of the ribbon into my adhesive. And then all I'm going to do is loop it. And when the twine comes on the back, I'm just sticking it down into that adhesive. So I'm going to go out this way. And I'm going to make a loop, and I kind of hold the loop with my fingers over here, and then I bring it back, and then I just stick it down into that adhesive so it's not going to go anywhere. And then I'm just going to do this over and over again until I get all of the loops that I want. I don't think too much about it. It's just one of those things that I kind of just go with and do and see how it turns out. You can kind of finagle them a bit and mix them up if you want to. I would also say flip it over and look from the front side and see what it looks like. So I really like those two loops, but I think I probably want a third one in here as well. So I'm just going to finagle a third loop into here just like so, and then stick it down. And again, I'm going to flip it over. I really like the look of that. So now I'm going to go and let's maybe work on this side over here. I think I want two loops on this side, so I'm just going to make them kind of overlap a smidgen. And I just keep working at it. And it makes it really easy. I messed that one up. I pulled it too hard. It makes it really easy when you have the adhesive on the back because you literally just stick it down and it's there. It's not going to go anywhere. And you don't have to worry about, oh, I just realized I was totally not in camera because I zoomed in too much. It's really easy. You don't have to think a ton about it because you're just kind of going with it. Having the adhesive makes it really easy because you literally just stick it down and it's there and it's ready to go. So then let's do maybe one more loop over on this side. Just like that. And I know it's hard to see. And again, don't forget to flip it over, see how it looks, see if you want to add anything, remove anything. And then this one, I think what I'm going to do is do a loop over there. And maybe come up here and do a loop over here. Yeah, I like it. So then all you want to do is make sure, and I just kind of take my hand, and it's going to be a little sticky because you have so much adhesive down. I just take my hand and kind of smush everything down, make sure everything down is nice and secure. Grab your little snips and snip the tail, and you're good to go. And then you flip it over and you have this really cool piece with all this fun twine, and then we're going to have the trees off of it, and it's just going to be so much fun. Oh, I love this one so much. Okay, so I promise I will calm down. I promise. Promise. So I'm going to take this, set this off to the side. I do leave it with the adhesive side up just so nothing gets stuck to it or it doesn't get like stuck to my table or anything, because that has happened also. I'm going to bring in this smaller piece of crumb cake. This is cut at 4 1/4 by 1 inch. I'm going to take this really fun ribbon. This is, what is this called? This is the embroidered ribbon. It's really pretty. This was actually my freebie for the month of October. The month of, was this my freebie in the month of October? I can't remember that far back. I don't really remember. My freebie for this month, I don't remember what it is. I'll post it somewhere. It'll all be in the coordinating blog post, all of that good stuff. But I'm going to take this and I'm just going to measure the ribbon to be a little bit larger than the length of my cardstock. I'm going to snip it. And then I'm going to take some good old Scotch tape. I had to find where I put it. Take a couple pieces. And we are just going to wrap it around this piece of crumb cake cardstock, just like so. Tape it on the back side. And then I'm just going to pull it right in the middle. Just like that. You don't want to pull it too tight because then the paper will start warping, but tight enough to where it's going to look nice and it's not going to be like saggy and stuff on the front. Okay. So we are then going to take our crumb cake piece. This is a piece of, what is this? It's not Old Olive. Is this Garden Green? Yes, this is Garden Green. I couldn't remember that for a second. This is cut at 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I'm going to take this piece here. I'm going to grab my Stampin' Seal Plus again and just do a couple runs of adhesive. Now, because there's ribbon on here, I really want to make sure I have lots and lots of adhesive so that it doesn't go anywhere. And I'm just going to stick this at the bottom portion of my card. I'm leaving maybe 1/4 inch from the bottom from where I'm putting this. Just like that. Then I'm going to take our little sentiment and I'm also going to put some adhesive on this. When I say some, I'm going to put a lot of adhesive. Stick that right there in the middle. I think this is kind of cute. It kind of looks like a Santa belt with the ribbon and then the little rectangle in the middle. Just started out there. Another possibility, another idea you could do with this. I am now going to take this piece. Ooh, and I just realized I did not score my piece of cardstock. So let's do that really fast. This video is all of the things that I forgot to do to prepare. So you guys get to see like these little things that I try to do before the video so you guys don't have to go through it with me. But here we are. Just scoring that so I have a nice crisp line for when I go to fold my card. I'm going to take this piece, the piece that we just put our sentiment on, and again, I'm going to get lots and lots of adhesive. Oops, maybe. There we go. Now, this is going to flush up perfectly with our card base. So this is the same size as one side of our card base. So that's just something to note is you're not going to have a little edge on here. If you wanted an edge, you could for sure make it a different size. You just size it up differently. But I really like to mix it up with the look of having that border and not having the border. I just think it, for a card like this that has a lot kind of going on, I think not having the border can help sometimes to kind of draw your focus in, which is really going to be on our trees. Okay, now I'm going to fold this in half, give it a good score before we put all that other fun stuff on. Okay, so now I'm going to take our little crumb cake piece here and I'm going to take a bunch of dimensionals and I'm going to put them all around. I would suggest really using dimensionals for this piece. Most of the time, like I was saying, like I'm not a huge person where if you use ribbon, you have to use dimensionals to get it to stick really well. I don't believe that at all. If you use a really good adhesive and make sure that you use enough adhesive, you don't have to use dimensionals for something that has ribbon on the back of it to stick. It does help. It does make it easier, but you don't have to. I know a lot of people feel like you have to use dimensionals because you have that ribbon on there, and I was one of those people for a very long time. I don't think you have to. With something like this, because there is so much ribbon, like this is not your typical, like this piece here, right? This piece was one piece of ribbon tucked under the sides. This piece is not that big of a deal. This has so much on there that I definitely recommend you use dimensionals to get it to stay nice and pretty. So then we're going to center this. And now the trick here is I am centering the square. I'm not looking at where all the ribbon is. I am centering the square because the ribbon is just an accent. And so we want to make sure the square is centered, not the ribbon. I'm going to stick that down just like that. And then I'm going to grab my little trees here. And they do have a bunch of little bits and bobs in them. So I'm just going to grab my Take Your Pick tool and make sure I pop all of these out really fast. You could use the die or is it the die brush? I don't know. I have it, you guys. Talked about this. I think I talked about this in my favorite tools video, I want to say, that I just don't find a ton of use out of that die brush. I think for some people it probably works really well and it's really useful, but honestly by the time I were to find where that was, get the attachment for my Take Your Pick tool, I look up like I'm already done, you know? So I'm not going to worry about it too much. That's what I do. Now we're going to attach our little trees. So you can do this in a couple of ways. You could use our adhesive sheets. So before you die cut it or anything, you could use an adhesive sheet and then just peel the sheet off. What I am opting to do, because I just think it's easier for this, and here we are. I'm going to use my fine tip glue pen, and I'm going to just put my fine tip glue pen on the back of my little tree where I want it to be. And it seems to stick and hold pretty well. I stopped using the fine tip glue pen for a while, not for any particular reason other than that I just kind of stopped using it. And I've fallen in love with it again. So I'm going to do my little trees, and you can kind of place them first to see where exactly you want them. I'm going to do 2 on the back layer. Oops. With the fine tip glue pen, you do have to kind of, so this is what I do. I put it down and then I'll put like a block or something on the top of it and then scooch it off to the side while I do the next one. I'm going to do, and I'll show you on this one. So the 2 in the back, there's 2 in the back and then 1 on the front. So that's how I'm going to do this one also. So again, just a bit of glue. And again, I just kind of do it all over, so. Okay. Bring this back in. Flip her over. Stick it down, and again, I kind of use my fingers to press it down for a second to just kind of get the initial adherence. Get it stuck down initially. I don't know what the right way to say that is. And then I put that block on top of it while I do my next one. And that's kind of how I use my fine tip glue pen in general. Even if I don't have like multiple things that I'm gluing down, I will stick it down first with my fingers and just make sure that the glue gets on there and that everything is nice and stuck together. And then I will put a clear block down to make sure that it stays nice and flat while while it's drying a little bit. And then it'll stick. It'll be perfectly fine. So we're going to stick this one. And then I'm going to put this one up just a smidge higher to give it a little bit of variation in like heights and whatnot. So again, I just stick it down on there. Give it a hot little second to really dry. Make sure if you are using your fine tip glue pen that you put your cap back on right away. These two caps always seem to want to stick together for me, so I always have to do this fun thing of like, I don't know, playing the hokey pokey with it is what it feels like sometimes. So you always want to make sure you put your needle back in there so that it stays nice and secure. And then that is our project for today, you guys. I love it so much. I really hope you guys enjoy this one. I know it's a little bit of a longer project, but while you are sitting and just hanging out over the holidays or, you know, hanging out at home, staying safe at home, whatever you are currently doing, and whatever your views are, spend some time and create some new projects. It's really fun. It's really easy. And this one, like, it seriously, it goes by super fast. When you're not sitting and talking and like explaining it, it goes by really, really quickly. So you can find all of the products that I mentioned 24/7 just by going to littlemooncreation.stampinup.net, and you can shop them there. All of these specifics on paper sizes and all of the stuff that I used for this specific project is in the coordinating blog post, which is the first link in the description box below. That is also where you can find the details on how to enter to win the Life is Beautiful stamp set. So make sure you go check that out, or you can just go to littlemooncreation.com to see all of the fun stuff that I have up on my website. So I hope you guys are having a fantastic day, and I will see you in the next video.